I did it. Oh, 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 I did it. 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 What up, and welcome to Challenge Accepted, where every week viewers send in challenges, and I'm going to do them for 7 days. I'm going to put them all in a hat. I'm going to pull 3 of them, choose the one I want to do for the upcoming week, put the other 2 back into the hat, and then I'm going to do that challenge, and I'm going to come back and share the journey with you, how it all went, and my big reflections. So, what got me started on this? This is the completion of the 75 Hard Challenge. All my data, everything I did, and I'm going to go over it. But first, let's talk about what the 75 Hard Challenge is and why I did it. And of course, me being me, I added in 3 things of my own to add to the already 5 challenging tasks. The second one I added on was practicing Spanish every day for 45 minutes on my online classes. Te aprecio, mucho amor siempre. I'm getting there. And the last one I added on my own was practicing cornhole every single day for an hour in hopes to compete in a professional tournament. I missed that. The next task, you have to read 10 minutes a day of a personal or professional development business type book. I was getting my reading on. You also have to eat clean for all 75 days, no cheat days, and that includes no alcohol. So we get rid of this, get rid of that, get rid of that. You got to drink a gallon of water a day. Just to give you an idea, that's one of these, and one of these, and another one of these. Oh, and one more of these. Task number 5, and this is probably one of the hardest. You got to get in 2 45-minute workouts every single day, and one of them must be outside. So you can work out here with all this beautiful stuff, or you take yourself right outside into the sunshine and get your work in. All right, so let's talk about it. First, 20 minutes of meditation every single day. Now, I meditate every single day already. I write meditations for virtual reality, right? However, sometimes it's 5 minutes, sometimes it's 10, sometimes it's a silent meditation, sometimes it's 20. Sometimes I chant. Sometimes I will do a slow moving meditation like a Qigong or a Tai Chi. And sometimes I'll just listen to a guided meditation. But sitting in silence 20 minutes every day for 75 days straight had me more in line with myself and the universe than I could have ever imagined, which made me think about why I've been like what time I've been wasting switching and flopping when I love sitting meditation so much and I already connect with it. Big one for me. Now, Spanish. Now, I've known Spanish pretty well in my vocab and I can pick up bits and phrases, but this is the first time with all that practice that I can hear people speaking Spanish and not only understand the complete sentence, the complete conversation, the intonation and tone, but I'm being like, oh, I see how they are conjugating that verb, or I see exactly, how they laid that out with what I practice. So I'm being bold here. Mi confianza todavía no es lo suficientemente fuerte. También me gustaría tener un amigo con el que pueda hablar regularmente en español para poder practicar más y aprender más. So I'm still not there, but I'm getting there. I'm getting there. Now, cornhole. I made a declaration on social media with one of my kids in the car talking about how by the end of 2024, I wanted to compete in a professional cornhole tournament. And so I started practicing every single day for an hour. And then when I started the 75 Hard Challenge, I made that a part of the challenge for myself. However, I quickly realized it's the only thing on this sheet that's been crossed out. I was doing really, really well until about day, 23. And then I just realized I enjoy cornhole casually with a drink, music, good friends, good vibes. That's all I want to do. Could I practice for an hour and do I think I could compete? Yeah, I think I could have, but it wasn't fun, right? It no longer interests me. And that's one of the first things I learned for this, or at least that I already knew that I think you should pick up, is try different things and experiment. And if you don't like it, so what? It's okay to change your mind. Don't worry about other people talking about, oh, you failed. I knew you couldn't do it. Don't beat yourself up thinking to yourself like, oh, I couldn't follow through on that. Nah, I'm still going to keep this 75 hard challenge and I'm still going to play cornhole. But what I thought I wanted to do when I started putting in the effort and work for it, I come to find out I didn't really want to do it, right? All that stuff you want to change in your life, give it a try. You want to run that business? Test it out. See if you want to do all that work. If you do, great, keep going. If not, change course, do something different. All right, so now let's talk about the actual 5 challenges of 75 Hard and why I chose to do this. I was sitting out back, having a drink, scrolling through IG or TikTok or something, and the founder, I believe it was the founder of the 75 Hard Challenge, came across the screen on an interview talking about 98% of people can't complete this challenge because they're too weak. They lack discipline. You cannot complete this challenge. And I was like, do you know me? Do you know that I put everything on discipline about myself? Oh, I can complete this challenge. Did you know that I already wrote a 100-day challenge journal for folks on muchlovealways.com that you can get right now that most people don't finish either, but I did? Oh, I'm going to tackle 75 hard. So let's talk about it then. The first one, progress picture every single day. Now, I know how to get photo shoot ready. I know how to do that as a fitness expert. Thirst trap. And I'll show you the photos here. Now, this wasn't about discipline for me in like a fitness aspect. It's what I do for my work. So I wasn't concerned about that, but I was curious to see what changes my body would go through, if any. And it did a little bit. I definitely trimmed some of the little bit of extra I had around the midsection, and my shoulders got nice and, strong looking. But, I wasn't tripping off that. That was just a matter of the type of exercises I was doing and what areas I wanted to focus on. But here's what did bother me. I don't use my phone for the first 2 hours of the day. My alarm clock is not my phone. It's in a whole nother room. So getting up every morning, using the restroom, and the first thing I do is take a picture of myself, even though I wasn't checking notifications, I just didn't like that I was building that habit on top of the habit of staring at myself in the mirror and nitpicking. Now, I've never had any issues about my ego and my body and whatever, anything like that. But I started to feel like after the 75 was over and I kept doing it, what it must feel like to have body dysmorphia. That's the closest thing I can imagine, because I just constantly was looking and being like, oh, I ate that yesterday. And I was like, I don't like that. So very quickly, I just left that alone. 10 minutes of reading. This was awesome. I love to read, but I always am like, if I'm not going to read for like 30, 45 minutes or an hour, like what's the point? And then if you're laying down, you end up falling asleep, or, you just, maybe you don't really like the book. But by putting it in 10-minute chunks, this really kept me on point, and you'd be surprised how fast you fly through a book reading 10 minutes a pop. It's crazy. I think I must have got through like 6 or 7 books throughout the 75 hard, just reading 10 minutes a pop. So much so that I'm continuing to do it, but at 15-minute clips. That's right around the sweet spot for me before I start yawning or losing interest or saying, unless it's a really, really good book. But I can read those 15, close it, put it away, and I learn so much because it's personal development and professional development or business. Hell, reading these books, doing this challenge gave me the idea for the show, Challenge Accepted. Clean eating. Okay, so this wasn't that difficult. I'm not really a bad eater. I don't drink soda. I don't really like sweets because I like spicy instead, unless it's a Snicker bar that I done put in the freezer that I'm eating at 3 o'clock in the morning after a long night of hanging out at the barbecue. All right. But other than that, like I eat pretty well. Maybe not my tacos and burritos, but still. So it wasn't difficult to transition to a completely clean eating. The part that was difficult, or at least that kind of sucked, was because I don't cook like that all the time, I just didn't have that many recipes. And so I had to look things up, and some things came out good and some just not so good. And everything felt like a salad or a bowl. It never felt like a really cohesive meal. It just kind of felt like these simple things on the plate, and I was just eating to fuel my body. I wasn't enjoying it so much as I used to. And being around other people while they're eating, not an issue. It just really didn't bother me. I ate what I ate and made it as good as I possibly could. The no alcohol part of that wasn't a problem for me. Now, I do like my drinks, my tequila, my IPAs, a scotch if I can't get my good tequila, okay? You want to send me some, you know what to send me. Now, being around other folks while they're drinking and you're staying sober, I was like, man, whoever used to be the designated driver back in the day, that sucked. Whoever's hanging out, like my mom will come to barbecues and she doesn't drink or do anything. So she's sitting there while the kind of party's getting a little livelier. And I'm like, that must kind of suck. Because I remember the first time I dealt with it was going in Florida for a leadership summit where I had to do a talk. And the night before the event, they took all of the speakers out to dinner, this fancy Italian restaurant. I'm talking about pre-appetizers, then the bread and olive oil. Then I'm talking about appetizers, 2 different kinds, the main course, another main course, plus a dessert, then like a post-dessert, whatever they call it. I don't really know. Plus he was like, open bar, expensive bottles of wine. People were making specialty drinks, drinks on the rocks, drink neat. And I was just sitting there with water, avoiding the bread, like picking at the things I could eat. And, it was cool until about an hour into it where you could feel the energy shift. It got a little louder. It got a little more boisterous. People were a little more restless and a little more touchy-feely and a lot of laughter. And like I was hanging with it until it got to the point where I couldn't really understand what anybody was laughing at and what the inside jokes were or what was happening at the table. And so when we left and we filed back to the hotel as a group, I hung back in the back as they were all making plans to go to different bars. And I was just like, I'm going to hit the gym. Did I miss being a part of that group? Yeah, a little bit, because I enjoy having a good time, being out social, having some drinks. But was it worth missing that and getting that feeling and understand being in someone else's shoes, plus knowing that like I can avoid temptation? Hell yeah, it was worth that. It was totally worth it. And you know what? Surprisingly, people really supported me on it. They didn't try to get me to drink or be like, you should forget that 75 thing here. None of that ever happened. None of it ever happened. And I felt really good. Anything I put in my body, I could feel what it was doing the next day. I could feel what it was doing during my workouts. My skin got better. It was nice. It was really, really nice. All right, a gallon of water. Interesting thing. It looked like a lot. But then when I started drinking it, especially with the 2 workouts a day, it wasn't enough. And I started drinking, I want to say almost 1.5 gallons to 2 gallons of water every day. Here's what sucked about it. One is I felt like it made me thirstier and I kept guzzling water all day, every day, which meant I had to pee like every 5 minutes. I know people were laughing, being like at work and getting up, going to the bathroom, coming back, getting up, going to the bathroom. Like, what is he doing in there? But I legitimately had to pee that much all the time, all the time. My body did not get used to it. My body did not condition to it. But also I was drinking way too much water. So I should have known this, but I didn't. You can actually drown your body in water. I mean, obviously, right? If you drown, you drown. But you can drown with the consumption of water. What was happening was every time I worked out, whenever I jogged, ran, sprints, anything, basketball, anything that had to do with running, inevitably, 10 to 15 minutes in, both my legs would cramp up and I couldn't do anything, right? And I hit my physical therapist guy who was dealing with a back issue for me a while back. And I was like, man, what's going on? It's like, have you changed your diet recently? What are you doing? I told him 75 hard and what I was doing. And he was like, you're drinking too much water. You're diluting the electrolytes in your body. That's the thing that's going to prevent you from cramping. And you're washing them all out, which is why maybe TMI, like my urine was just clear, right? Which is not a good thing. You don't want it totally clear like water. And so he's like, you can use these electrolyte drops and, add this stuff in, put some pinches of salt in your water. And so I started doing that and also bringing my water intake like right at 1 gallon, maybe a little bit over. Cramps gone. Did I keep up with the water? Nah, I didn't. Again, I just didn't want to pee that much. But I do drink probably about 3/4 of a gallon every day, maybe half. And if we're having a barbecue, I'm drinking in another form, so it don't matter. Now the last one, exercise. 2 45-minute workouts every single day, one of them mandatory outside. Wasn't very difficult. I would do one in the morning, and then while the kids were at school, I would do one in the afternoon. I had to start finding ways to do them when we were busy. For example, when I was traveling in Florida, they asked me to do, a dinner, a talk all day, watching other people talk, a party afterwards, plus an interview. And like I had to tell them, like, oh, is the interview just torso up or full body? And they were like, torso up. So I went and got my workout in, threw a dress shirt on over, and then walked down and did it with a dress shirt and then shorts and some shoes on, some tennis shoes, right? Or at my son's baseball game, which was 7 to 10 p.m., and I hadn't got my second one done in the day. So during baseball, because he's in the dugout until it's his turn to bat, and when he's on the field, we're waiting to see if anyone hits the ball. I would get my workout in over behind the left field fence, and pop my head up to watch the game, and would get him on in that way. Now, here's the interesting thing I learned about this. About 10 days into it, I was like, I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if I can do 2 a day. But it was because normally when I work out once a day, like, I push myself. Now, I was pushing myself twice a day. And I realized the challenge said nothing about killing yourself in a workout. It just said get a workout in. So I really started to vary up and switch my exercises and change the intensities. I would lift, I would run, I would hit the treadmill, I would walk, I would hike, I would do boxing, swimming, VR, play basketball. I even did a bunch of yoga workouts, which if you don't think that's a workout, try some advanced hard yoga. Like, it'll humble you. I started following people on YouTube for body weight workouts and dumbbell workouts. I did try Pilates. It wasn't for me. I don't know how y'all do Pilates. That was so difficult. I was like, nope, I'm done. I'm switching to go do another exercise. I got back into riding my bike around town long distances, and it was a lot of fun. So once I was like, you don't have to kill yourself twice a day for 45 minutes. Get your workout in. Make sure you get the heart rate up. You get a good lather. You're really working different muscle groups, and you're keeping, nice and loose with stretching. And that's good. And that worked out wonderful. Now, am I going to continue doing 2 45-minute workouts every single day? Nah, it's just not necessary. Again, when I need to get my body in shape for a photo shoot, thirst trap, I will. Okay. I'll do that. I'll do that. So that is my take on each one of the activities and completing it. If you're going to do it, you definitely need something to keep track of everything. Also, the biggest thing I took away from it was something I already knew, but it just validated my sentiment, which is you can curate your life experience however you want it to be. So many people talk about how they don't have time to do stuff. You got time. You just got to make it a priority. That's it. You have time for whatever you want to do, right? Whether that means going to bed a little earlier, waking up a little earlier, staying up later, turning off the television, not getting your stress relief with binge watching Netflix or whatever it is you may be doing, and just putting in the time. But it also requires boundaries and limits you set, not just for yourself per se, but for other people. There are a lot of things where I had to be like, nah, I can't do that. I got some other stuff I got to take care of. No, I can't show up to that at that time. I'm going to be doing this. Oh, yeah, I can do that. I'm just going to be working out in the background while we have this conversation, right? So I had to give people my expectations so they knew what to expect from me. And that was wonderful. That was a great situation because it really, really solidified my ability to say no and my ability to set parameters, okay? So that's 75 hard challenge. If you want to take it on, go for it. Hey, it definitely sparks some things and gets your brain moving, your body moving. It definitely puts you in a really good place. And you know what? To the 75 hard challenge founder, creator, I did it. And I hope whoever's watching this and takes it on, you do it too. Just to show him that you're part of the 2% he claims. You can do that. All right, time for the next challenge. All right, so here's my trusty box. Look. Can you see that? I put in everyone's suggestions so far. You can send in challenges. I'm only doing them for a week, right? That's first off. Second off, I'm not a billionaire. Don't be asking me to travel across the country to go do something and climb some, what? No. Wait, let me get there first, okay? I'll work my way to that. All right. And don't be trying to embarrass me. Like I'm doing this to learn new things, to challenge myself, to experience life that I normally wouldn't experience because it's not something I would typically do because I wouldn't have done it before, or never done it before, didn't even know the challenge existed for myself. So challenge me, give me some real stuff. Don't be out there trying to embarrass me, okay? So I'm gonna pull three. I'm gonna read off the three. I'm gonna pick the one I want to do. The other two go back in the box. And next week, you'll get the review along with the journey going through the process of that challenge. Okay. Let's see. 1, 2, 3. First one up. Source a completely local meal. I actually just saw a sign for that. We'll see. It was like no, maybe just a sign for some honey, and they were like some really very local honey, and I was like, oh, that's clever. Make an envelope out of a magazine, write a note, and send in the envelope. You know what? I like that because it's creative. Plus, it does something we don't do anymore, which is write letters to people. And I love writing letters. Last one, do a Spartan race. I'm picking the Spartan race. Yep, that's what's happening. I'm picking the Spartan race. The other two are going to go back. And you know what? Just so you can see, the other two are going to go back in the box right now. So they get done later. I'm doing a Spartan race, but I think I need to bring in some reinforcements. So for now, challenge accepted. Oh, and 75 hard, challenge accomplished. Challenge, mission accomplished, challenge conquered. We're still working on how we're going to close that out. But until next time, I appreciate you. Much love always. Oh, well, I forgot to say, yes, Spartan race, challenge accepted. Okay. That's what we're going with so far. And if you don't want to do 75 hard, but you do want to challenge, hey, one challenge a day, 100 days, don't even have to be consecutive days. Mind, Body, Soul Journal. I wrote this myself. It changes your whole perspective and gets you out of your comfort zone. You can get it at muchlovealways.com. That's muchlovealways.com. All right, fam. I'll holler at you.